Andrew.
Jen.
How are you today?
I am fantastic, as always.
I love to hear it.
That doesn't seem genuine. You didn't really seem that you already. I felt like you already knew I was going to say that before I said it.
Yeah, you're so predictable. How are you today?
I'm okay.
It's going to be one of those days, you know.
Is it?
I think so.
What day? What kind of days are those?
One of those.
Oh, those.
Yeah, where I act in my general excited, happy to be yourself, and you respond to me in a very judgmental, not today, Jen, way, isn't it?
Oh, judgmental, is it? Oh, okay.
No.
Well, I tell you what. Let's just see what happens.
Okay. All right. I want to talk about karma.
How dare you?
Well, how dare you?
I would think you would dare.
All right. Okay. Are you done Are you done?
Oh, so we're about to get serious now?
Yeah.
Let's get serious.
I'm put on your happy to be here serious face, not.
That's the only face I have.
Okay. We'll do our best today as we talk about karma.
I do my best every day.
Karma's a bitch, Andrew. I need you to chill.
Okay, well.
Okay. All right, let's just jump into it. I want to talk about karma, and I'm excited to hear your spin and perspective on karma.
Lay it on me.
Yeah. All right, so we've talked about karma a few times on the podcast. We've touched on it. We were walking in the woods this week, and have you ever been in a place that you're like, man, there's bad karma here? I've never felt that in the woods, but this sign, this handmade, man-made sign that is in a sheet protector to keep it from getting wet. A gentleman or woman,
where was this? In the woods?
Yep, deep in the woods.
Okay.
Yeah. And the sign is, I'll read it to you. To the person who took my underline hiking poles, I hope you needed them more than I did. After 3 knee surgeries, I needed them to get up and down the hill. Remind you, the sign is in the middle of a hill, in the middle of the woods. And they follow up with, hopefully they will not bring you bad karma. Exclamation mark, exclamation mark.
There's a lot to unpack there.
Let's do it. Let's just get to work.
Are you ready to get to work?
Yeah.
All right, let's take a break. I need to think about this.
All right.
This is No Expectations, the podcast where we have unedited, lively conversations about spirituality, Zen Buddhism, holistic living, and everything in between. My name is Andrew. I'm a lifelong Zen Bodhisattva. It sounds much more fancy than it really is. A part-time tracksuit tailor and an author. This is my buddy, Jen.
What's up? I'm Jen. I love a good cup of coffee, a long walk in the woods at a comfortable, moderate pace. And I love having these conversations about kind of living life with no expectations.
Okay, so we're back and we're going to talk about karma today. Jen, refresh my memory. What happened in the woods? You saw a sign?
Yeah, there's a sign in the woods, which is usually a very peaceful place where, you know, there's not many people. And apparently some person had left their hiking poles, something that was important to them. And someone else saw them, found them, and thought that they were up for taking, and they took them. And this gentleman or woman...
They're pretty upset.
They're pretty upset. And they ended this note with, like, karma's going to get you. Karma's...
Double exclamation point?
Double exclamation mark. Bad karma is going to get you. And, you know, what you take away from that is something bad or hurtful happened to this man. And so he's wishing, or woman, I don't know who
this
wrote
person.
It. This human. And now they are hoping that a bad thing happens to them equally. As atonement for their sins, I guess. I don't know. It just kind of, you know, made me think that our idea of karma, you know, that
might be incorrect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I hear it a lot. We hear that phrase, karma is a bitch, more than I care to. That's not how karma works. That's not what karma is. If we think about karma its base definition is work, action. And it's about work for work's sake. It's not about wishing ill on someone else. It's not about good and bad. I mean, depending on your spiritual path, I mean, there's differences about what, the ways to accumulate karma. But I think the kind of strain that goes through all spiritual beliefs that have an idea of karmic energy is that you're creating karma in all things that you do, whether you're thinking or moving or interacting with another human being or another living thing. You're creating karma all the time. Mm-hmm. And as we go on a spiritual journey and we become aware and self-aware and, feel all the feelings, we start to be more aware of the types of karma that we create. Now, is it always positive, negative? Is it that binary? No. Yeah. But it is about you're creating energy. Now, if you have a bunch of negative thoughts in your own mind, and that could snowball into a whole bunch of negative karma, right?
Yeah.
And then having all that negativity in your brain box, and then you go deal with, somebody, your neighbor or something like that, and you spew negativity to them, then that creates more negativity and more negativity, going and going and going and
it's
going.
hard to get out of that cycle, or
right.
It's hard to be aware when you're so deep into it.
Right. So the idea is we really need to be aware of what we're doing and how we're behaving and the thoughts that we are creating, and do our best to. I say that it's not about doing our best, but being aware of it, because this idea of it's like a karmic account, right? Where I have to go reconcile the account. Well, this month I didn't really do really great. I created a bunch of bad karma.
Yeah.
And I only made this much karma. Next month I need to do better. It's not about that. You can't.
There's no scorekeeper for karma. There's no.
Yeah, there's no scorekeeper, and there's also, if you start to try to create good karma, that's also in a way creating bad karma, because it's not genuine. It doesn't come from a pure source.
You're leading that with an expectation that you're earning your spot in heaven, whatever that looks like.
So an expectation, like we talked about kind of before we started here, is like if I walked into a store and I held the door for the person behind me and they didn't say thank you, I'm like, wait, what? Karmic duty right here. I just held your door open. I don't get a thank you.
Recognize my good karma.
Look at this good karma.
It's oozing out for me.
So
accept it.
So instantly, the good act that I did becomes neutralized by the negative act of screw you, man.
Now you're back to zero.
Back to zero. So I've got to keep working. So if I just do it and go, okay, well they didn't say thank you. Well. Okay, maybe they were somewhere else. Maybe their mind was on something else. Maybe they were stressed out about something else in their life. So it's not about trying to go out of your way to, create great karma. Mm-hmm. It's just being natural, being a good, solid human being.
Yeah. Well, it's doing all the things we've talked about before, being compassionate, showing gratitude, all of those everyday actions, when you perform them, are like positive karma actions when done with
being genuine.
Yeah.
From a place of genuine care and compassion. When it's contrived, it's not real. It's fake. It's phony, and the universe knows that. Mm-hmm. This idea of when we see somebody do something great, when a person does something really great, and we're like, oh my God, that's amazing. We can't judge them on that. That's a one-off act. And yeah. I don't really have a good example off the top of my head, right? But the ordinary person who does the day-to-day thing and is just is a good person and tries to do right by all things all the time, that's an extraordinary person. Mm-hmm. The one-off thing is great, don't get me wrong, but consistency in that is the struggle, and that's difficult, and that's greatness. Like, that's really difficult.
Yeah.
From a Zen perspective, the idea of karma is the idea that, you're born in deficit of karmic goodness. Mm-hmm. That the actions of our parents, our grandparents, all the things before us that came before we were even a twinkle in the universe's light, we already had accumulated their karmic debt.
Yeah. Wow, that's not depressing. Okay.
And if you think about our history, as our ancestors probably weren't really considering their karmic debt too much, right?
Yeah.
So there's probably some things that we're not great about. I'm not saying that, but so we're kind of born into, from a Zen perspective, a karmic deficit, and our job is to try to not go out of our way, but create good karma by good action for no other reason than just to, and that maybe we can erase a little bit of that for the next generation, or ourselves, if we think about ourselves in reincarnation, that we get another bite at the apple in a different, if we're so fortunate to show up again in a human form,
yeah,
that we're aware of creating karmic duty or creating karmic energy, that we get another a bite at the apple and go, oh, next time I won't do that. I'll do this because I understand this. So I know that's way off tangent.
No.
Is it on tangent?
I think it's right on tangent, I guess.
So just this person who's so upset about the hiking poles, how do we reframe that for them? If we had them here in the room, how do you think we could reframe that for them?
I thinking about both of the humans in this situation, I think suggesting, offering a compassionate viewpoint on either side. Mm-hmm. So if we're talking to the human who had his poles taken from him, the idea that compassion, maybe this person needed them more than you. Maybe they had no idea. Maybe they thought that they were being donated because they were left in the middle of the woods for no reason, and if you kind of spin this a compassionate viewpoint of it, you remove the anger that you were, it was a personal attack on you.
Yeah.
I think too, like the gratitude for his health to be able, or her health to be able to make it back to this space without the things that they thought they needed.
Maybe that was an enlightening moment too. That was, covered up by anger.
Yeah. Maybe
this person found something in themselves to get back to that spot on the trail without the assistance of the poles. Mm-hmm, and they're like, wow, I can do this.
Hopefully,
okay. Maybe it was struggle, and I'm not,
Yeah.
And for the person, to your point, maybe that person who took the poles didn't take them with any intention of ill will. It was like, well, they're here. I might need these. Yeah. Or somebody I know in my life might need these.
How would you coach the giver of, I hope you find bad karma? How do you coach someone to say, like, that's not how it works. That's not how karma works. And in doing so, in wishing this, you've now put bad karma on yourself too. And you're just spreading this like negative energy. I don't know. How do you coach someone? That's not how karma works, yo.
Well, I mean, the double exclamation point was really tells me that they were super upset.
Super upset.
So we gotta calm down a bit and kind of understand. Our job as teachers is to educate people, because knowledge is important. Like, getting past the idea of desire and emotions and getting back to the purpose of our life here on earth is one of those purposes, is to create knowledge or understand knowledge. And like we've had this conversation too. It's like through knowledge, through the acquiring knowledge, that we can create wisdom in ourselves. Mm-hmm. So spending a moment with that person who is angry, letting them, finding a way to hear what they're saying, calming them down, and saying, "Hey, what's the big thing here? This person, maybe they needed them. Maybe the universe was telling you no longer need these."
Yeah.
And I do believe that and that's another byproduct of the spiritual journey is understanding that being vulnerable and putting yourself in the hands of the universe, that the universe provides. Mm-hmm. Right? And so, like, whatever your belief system is, so if this person, maybe their Christian belief system, right? And it's like giving to somebody else who's in need. Maybe they just accidentally did that.
Yeah.
They just accidentally did that. And that person's like, "Oh, I've been thinking about getting some poles. I'm struggling to get up and down these trails more than I used to. Oh, look, the universe provided me a pair of hiking poles." It's strange how this works.
Yeah. I think so. It's taking not just the self-realization and the awareness of how you're responding and the karma energy that you're building, but also like spinning it so that it goes from a negative connotation to maybe a more positive or a more good or a better energy than what the initial feeling was.
Yeah, I mean, and there's another thing too, right? It's about attachment. Mm-hmm. Like attached to negative emotions. Like, I want the worst for somebody who did me wrong. Like, okay, what are we doing? Like, why are we so upset about this? Why am I wishing ill on a complete stranger?
Right.
What does that make me feel better? Probably not. Mm-mm. So it probably feeds some other thing that's deeper. So it would probably take a little while to kind of uncover that in that person, and that, to understand why are we so angry about this, and understand that there's other ways to handle this.
Yeah. And why are you bringing your anger and your bad vibes into my woods?
Oh, they're your words?
Like, come on.
I did not know that they were
when I am there, they're mine. Yeah.
Oh, I had no idea.
The universe provided for me, Andrew.
Enough about me. Let's get back to you and your woods.
Thank you.
But I think it's just, if we think about creating that anger, is not only just like, if we just take away the spiritual part of it and thinking about it as karmic energy, that anger creates stress in our bodies, and that stress radiates, and it causes, like, long-term exposure to stress and anger creates really long-term health problems.
Yeah, and in this situation, by going back into the woods to the space and posting the sign for all to see, the intent was to drive more anger from more people. I mean, really, I think that, like, this person was putting it out there because they want the whole world to know the shame that this person should feel because of.
There's a good chance that person will never walk through those woods again. Yeah. I mean, we don't know that.
Yeah.
Like the person who borrowed the poles.
Yeah.
They may never come back to those woods again.
And to the strangers who do pass the sign, like, they're reading it, like, yeah, fuck that asshole. And so now you're just spreading this more angry.
Well, I had a lot of questions about it, like you did. Like, how did you get this far into the woods without your poles? And where were you for so long that your poles were out here unattended?
Unattended? Were you up using the bathroom?
The bathrooms aren't that close.
Wouldn't you need the poles to get up there?
It was pretty. I think, what's the rule about you shouldn't use the bathroom that close to water?
No, yeah.
I mean, it's 100 yards, 250
so where
yards.
Were you?
Yeah, really. How could you leave your poles unattended for that long?
On like the midway point of a small little hill.
Yeah.
Like where?
So maybe, anyhow, again, you can't let that stuff get to you. Those things are replaceable. And, we've talked about this on many times on this podcast. It's the idea of, if you could look back on your life after you die and think and consider all the things that you wasted your time worrying about, you'd be like, what was I doing all of this time? None of this stuff mattered.
Yeah. What kind of karma was building in that space?
But none of this stuff matters. Like the anger and resentment and karmic energy that you created over all of that, when it's all said and done, it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. Like, what are we doing? So creating karma, we need to get back to our meditation. Because in meditation, what's happening? Hopefully nothing.
Nothing. You're cleansing.
So you're really actually not a vehicle for karma. That's one of the few times the rare times that you're not.
In meditation.
Because there's no thoughts being created. There's no actions. You're just there. You're whatever you want, however you want to think. You're in the void. Mm-hmm, That's not a scary place. It's just a place without anything.
Yeah.
And so there's nothing happening there. And so we can learn to kind of be comfortable in that.
Yeah.
And then when we are finding ourselves out in the world and we're confronted by things that might
someone steals your hiking poles.
Yeah, I never thought I'd talk about hiking poles so much in my life.
It's just
but the thing was, I'm glad you saw that sign because I'd seen that sign a few months ago, and I was like, I really want Jen to see this. Mm-hmm. And I don't carry my phone into the woods, and so I was like, Jen, this is for you.
You need
to see this.
You need this.
So karmic energy, karmic creation, go out and do good things simply for just doing them. Just because it feels right to you. Mm-hmm. Don't go out there and go, hey, I'm going to go save the world and I'm going to go do this. And because if I don't do that, because by doing this, I get all this great karmic energy in my bank account and credits galore for everybody.
Yeah.
Because it's not how that works.
Save the world just because it needs saving.
What is this? Is this like some 1985 action hero movie?
Arnold Schwarzenegger? It sounds like it should be. Save the world.
Just because it needs saving.
You can trademark that quote. I like it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's already taken.
Oh, dang. Okay.
What else do you have to talk about with karma? Do you have any more questions, thoughts? I know we kind of, that's a very kind of, bird's eye view of karma.
Yeah, I mean, we've studied karma before and karma yoga, and it's intense. It's it's a almost mind-numbing study of what karma and the work really is and what it's for. But I think we kind of hit the high points.
Yeah, I think REI is having a sale on hiking poles. So if you feel like you want to kind of balance out the karmic thing and you bought a pair of hiking poles, take them back to the spot.
I mean, here's what I'm doing my hiking poles. I'm putting them in my backpack when I go into the woods. I'm not just leaving them up against a tree.
I really hope that whoever lost their poles or has found those poles is listening here. Mm-hmm. And they'll reach out and tell us their story. Maybe we've got it all wrong.
Maybe they know each other.
Oh, it's a beef.
It's a beef.
It's a long running beef.
Maybe it's a joke. Maybe you put that sign up there to trigger a response from me.
If I like to think if you know anything about me, I would never, and I mean never, use double exclamation points.
Never.
Never.
I don't know. Now you got me thinking.
Yeah, well, it's about time.
Wow.
Yikes. Bad karma.
Re-record. Thanks for listening to No Expectations, the podcast. We invite you to come join us and carry on the conversation at noexpectations.me, our new website, where we will be posting blog posts. We will link all of our episodes there, and you can follow us on our social media sites through the website.